If you ask me, the writers are preparing to drop a massive bombshell that will completely rewrite the history of the past few months. There is some serious insider buzz circulating about Alexis Davis, Willow Kane, and the tragic, heartbreaking state of Drew Kane. We have all been watching the tragedy unfold on our screens, but what if the tragedy is actually a meticulously crafted illusion? This unconfirmed information suggests that a massive secret is about to be dragged into the light, one that somebody has been desperately trying to keep hidden from the rest of the town. For weeks, we have been watching the agonizing drama surrounding Drew's sudden and mysterious medical decline. The official narrative has been that he suffered a devastating stroke, leaving him paralyzed, unable to communicate, and effectively trapped inside his own body. But the behind-the-scenes possibility that is currently leaking out paints a much darker, much more sinister picture. We are hearing that this wasn't a spontaneous medical emergency at all. It was a calculated, cold-blooded attack. And the person who pulled the trigger and has been pulling the strings ever since is rumored to be none other than Willow. But that is only the beginning of the rumor. The real shocker is who has been secretly onto her this entire time. Everyone assumes that Alexis Davis is just playing the role of the supportive family member and loyal ally. Most viewers believe that she has been trying to protect Willow, especially with all the chaos currently surrounding Tracy Quartermaine, the PCPD, and the endless family drama. The obvious explanation seems to be that Alexis, with her deep ties to the family and her fiercely protective nature, is just trying to keep the peace and shield the mother of her extended family from any further trauma. We have seen Alexis playing defense, offering legal advice, and standing by as a pillar of strength in the hospital waiting rooms. It looks like typical Alexis behavior, right? She is the seasoned lawyer who always tries to keep her loved ones out of a jail cell and safe from the harsh judgments of the world. But what if we're looking at this the wrong way? What if that wasn't the real reason Alexis has been hovering so closely around Willow and Drew's hospital room? The rumor mill is suggesting that Alexis is not an ally at all. In fact, she is the architect of Willow's impending doom. According to the speculation, Alexis discovered the horrifying truth weeks ago. Willow is the one who shot Drew on that fateful night, and she is the one who has been keeping him in this medically induced stroke-like state. But Alexis didn't just run to the police with a wild accusation. She is a brilliant, seasoned attorney. She knows that in a town like Port Charles, where the Corinthos and Quartermaine families have endless resources, knowing the truth is never enough. You need absolute, undeniable proof. So instead of confronting Willow directly, Alexis went completely undercover. Something about this feels hidden, and that's because Alexis has been operating in the shadows, executing a flawless, months-long secret investigation. The insider buzz claims that she has been quietly tracking Willow's every move. We are talking about deep dive forensic accounting, tracking hidden financial transactions, and monitoring suspicious meetings with shady medical suppliers on the docks. Alexis supposedly managed to trace the exact source of the exotic paralytic drugs that have been used to mimic Drew's stroke symptoms. Every time Willow smiled and played the devoted, grieving partner, Alexis was right there, secretly documenting the betrayal and building an ironclad case that no defense attorney could ever dismantle. The sheer psychological horror of this alternative story is absolutely staggering. If this unconfirmed information is true, it means Willow hasn't just committed a crime of passion. She has been engaging in long-term, systematic torture. The rumor is that Alexis found definitive proof that Willow has been continuously injecting Drew with these dangerous neurotoxins to ensure he can never speak, never move, and never reveal that she was the one who shot him. Imagine the chilling reality of Drew lying there, fully conscious but physically locked down, while his attacker pretends to wipe his brow and hold his hand. And all the while, Alexis is watching from the doorway, gathering the puzzle pieces, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When Drew's condition starts to become critical, Alexis realizes she can no longer just observe from a distance. The speculation points to a massive cinematic climax at General Hospital. Alexis, having compiled a devastating dossier of evidence, hands everything over to the PCPD and the district attorney's office. But she doesn't just hand it over. She orchestrates a real-time trap. She knows Willow's schedule. She knows exactly when Willow plans to administer the next potentially fatal dose of the paralytic drug. Alexis coordinates with the authorities to ensure they walk into that hospital room at the exact second Willow has the syringe in her hand, leaving no room for excuses or fabricated alibis. Picture the absolute chaos of this rumored scene. Michael Corinthos and Nina Reeves are standing in the hallway, completely oblivious, offering their support to the grieving Willow. Suddenly, the doors burst open, and the police swarm the room just as Willow is hovering over Drew's IV line. The insider buzz says the look of pure shock and betrayal on Willow's face when she realizes Alexis is standing right behind the cops will be Emmy-worthy. Alexis doesn't just let her get arrested. She verbally dismantles her in front of Michael and Nina, laying out the timeline of the shooting, the poisoning, and the lies. Willow is handcuffed and dragged out of the hospital, screaming her innocence, while the entire Corinthos family watches their world shatter into a million irreparable pieces. With Willow finally removed from the equation and the toxic drugs confiscated, the rumors suggest that Drew's recovery will be nothing short of miraculous. Once the authorities and the doctors realize what has been pumping through his veins, they immediately flush his system and administer the proper counteragents. The speculation is that we will see Drew slowly, agonizingly break free from the chemical prison Willow put him in. He will regain his speech, his motor functions, and finally, his voice. And when he does, he will corroborate every single piece of evidence Alexis gathered, confirming the living nightmare he endured, while Willow smiled in his face and pretended to care for him. Now, there may be more going on here than just a straightforward rescue mission. While the main rumor is that Alexis acted as a lone wolf investigator, we have to consider other angles. That's one possibility, but let's look at a few others. Possibility number one. What if Alexis was secretly working as a confidential informant for the WSB or the PCPD this entire time? We know Anna Devane is preparing to return to Port Charles, and Harrison Chase has been heavily involved in the Quartermain drama. What if Alexis approached Chase weeks ago, completely off the books, and they set up a sting operation together? This would mean the police were fully aware of Drew's suffering, but chose to let the trap play out to ensure Willow couldn't use her family's immense wealth and influence to escape justice. It paints Alexis as a tactical genius working within the confines of the law. But another theory is even more twisted. Possibility number two. What if Alexis initially intended to blackmail Willow? We know Alexis has a dark side and a history of making questionable moral choices when her family is threatened or when she feels backed into a corner. Could she have gathered all this evidence with the intention of forcing Willow to sign over all her shares, her assets, or her influence at ELQ and Aurora? In this scenario, Alexis only goes to the police because Willow refuses to comply or because Drew's health suddenly plummets faster than anticipated, forcing her hand. This would paint Alexis not as a heroic savior, but as a ruthless opportunist who only did the right thing when her extortion plot completely fell apart. And then there is a third, mind-bending option. Possibility number three. What if Drew hasn't been completely helpless this entire time? We know Felicia Scorpio recently revealed a plan to help Drew communicate again. What if that plan actually worked weeks ago? What if Drew and Alexis have been secretly communicating this entire time, perhaps through blinks, slight finger movements, or a coded system? In this version of the rumor, Drew is the actual mastermind who directed Alexis to the financial records and the drug supplier. He endured the agonizing injections willingly, knowing it was the only way to catch Willow red-handed and ensure she goes to prison for the rest of her life. It turns Drew from a passive victim into an active participant in his own harrowing rescue. I keep wondering whether there is an even deeper, more ruthless motive behind Alexis's actions. Because while saving Drew is a noble cause, Alexis has never been driven purely by altruism. She is driven by family. She is driven by the legacy of the Davis women and the protection of her bloodline. And that brings us to the most dangerous possibility of all. This is the theory that is really keeping me up at night. and it changes the entire complexion of this rumored storyline, from a tale of justice to a tale of cold, calculated manipulation. What if Alexis's ultimate endgame has absolutely nothing to do with justice for Drew and everything to do with Scout? Think about it. Alexis has always believed that her granddaughter deserves a stable, safe environment. If you ask me, Alexis realized long ago that Willow's orbit is a toxic, dangerous place filled with lies, secrets, and manipulation. But taking a child away from a mother like Willow, who has the backing of Michael Corinthos and his army of high-priced lawyers, is legally impossible under normal circumstances. So what if Alexis deliberately allowed Willow to continue poisoning Drew just a little bit longer? What if she intentionally waited to drop the hammer until the evidence was so overwhelmingly horrific that Willow would immediately be deemed an unfit mother with absolutely no chance of ever retaining custody? In this chilling scenario, Alexis sacrificed Drew's temporary well-being to secure Scout's permanent future. By ensuring Willow is arrested for attempted murder and systematic torture, Alexis creates a legal slam dunk to gain full, irrevocable custody of her granddaughter. She doesn't just want Willow in a jail cell. She wants Willow completely erased from Scout's life forever. It is a brilliant, terrifying, and ruthlessly calculated move that proves Alexis is willing to play God with people's lives if it means protecting her own family. The sheer darkness of this hidden agenda is enough to make your blood run cold, and it frames Alexis as the ultimate chess player in Port Charles. As we look at all these moving pieces, you have to admit that the pieces fit together almost too perfectly. The sudden shifts in character dynamics, the lingering camera shots on Alexis, the sheer desperation in Willow's eyes when she thinks she is losing control, it all points to a massive collision course. But of course, this is all unconfirmed information. The writers might take us down a completely different path, or they might execute this exact storyline with twists and turns we haven't even conceived of yet. The beauty of these insider rumors is that they force us to look at the characters we love in a completely different light. Could this rumor be the absolute truth? Could Alexis really be this calculating? And could Willow really be this monstrous? It might be true. It might be false. But one thing is absolutely certain. There is a storm brewing in Port Charles. And when the truth about Drew's condition finally breaks, the fallout will destroy families, shatter alliances, and change the landscape of the show forever. There is definitely something hidden in the shadows, and we are just waiting for the lights to turn on. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and keep your eyes peeled, because this secret cannot stay buried for much longer.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.